how's rain gutters working out in the sense of all the other services you provide? Does it seem to be the sweetest, most profitable for you, the easiest, or how does it fare across the board with
Yeah, I
what
mean,
else?
you're in Arizona. It's the desert. Does it ever rain there? Do you need
I think
gutters?
when it rains, it pours there.
So here's the thing about gutters. In my area, we have standalone gutter companies, especially in Phoenix and Vegas, and that's all they do is gutters. I don't have enough business to do a standalone gutter company for sure.
Right.
I would have to lower my living standards a little bit, but it makes good money. It is definitely a profitable business for sure, especially because the way that I've streamlined my business and I've able to increase my profits by the way that I run my company. And so because I run it differently than everybody else, my profits are higher. So the more efficient you can be, the more ROI you're going to get on your company.
All right. Well, let's talk about these efficiencies. How and where are you kind of pinching pennies and streamlining things that leave more money in the pocket?
So when I first decided to do a gutter company, I chose to stock colors that were most common in my area. And I drove around town. I looked at the installation techniques done by my competitors to figure out how they did it and what I could do better. Because the problem is when you start a company, you know who your competitors are. I didn't really care about their pricing structure. It didn't matter to me because their overhead is different than my overhead.
Right.
If I have $1 million of equipment, I'm going to be expensive. I got workman's comp, liability insurance. I have a lot of stuff. So I'm going to be higher than the other guys. So now I have to be more educated on how to charge more and convince a customer that I'm worth more money.
That's right.
And then I figured out, okay, white and light brown and dark brown are the most common colors in my area. So why not stock that? So then my initial startup was pretty expensive just because I bought a lot of stuff. And fortunately, I emptied out my savings account to start this company without any experience. Did a little bit of research, bought a brand new machine, bought a brand new trailer, did a $6,000 custom wrap on it to make it look very professional.
Smart.
Nobody else at the time was doing it. And then I sold what I had. I That's where the proficiency comes in handy. If their house is white and I've got it on my trailer, and let's say they have a gray house, well, the other guy is gray, but he's 3 weeks out because he has to order the materials from over 100 miles away and then have it ordered. I have white, and white contrasts great. If awesome, I could do it in an hour. Really? Yeah. And you got white trim on your doors. You have white trim on your pop outs.
Yeah.
Boom. White will look great. Okay, sounds good. And so that was my thing: is sell what I have. And in 4 years, I've had three custom orders.
That's
That
it.
was I've had
Oh
three
my
custom.
goodness.
Everybody else has chosen to everybody else has chosen to just buy what I have. And now I bought a second truck because we got bigger, and the builders in my area chose to start to paint the colors differently on the houses. So I had to pivot. They started to go with a couple different shades of gray, and nothing I had was going to match.
Right.
So I bought another truck. I flew to Texas, bought an old busted up gutter truck with a busted up machine. Fixed the machine, fixed the truck up, put a wrap on it, and then I stocked it with the other colors that were most common.
All right.
Now I have six colors that are the most common in my area. And I got my son's taking his bird away. He's got this big old cockatoo. And normally he's
Yeah.
not today. So that allows me to give same day service. Depending on when I get the call. And because we're not a high volume gutter company, um, we have the ability to drop what we're doing in the landscape field, and I could pull my landscapers. So my landscapers know how to do gutters, and my
Nice.
gutter guys know how to do my landscape.
I think that's highly important. We cross train here as well.
Yeah, cross training is a huge thing, and upselling. My first bid was $3,500. My competitor was 800, and I won the bid. He never even offered the rest of the house.
Right.
He was what we call an order taker.
That's it.
I just want the entry done. Okay, it's $600.
Right.
Or I could do the whole house and your detached garage for this amount and maintain the landscape if we do the whole thing. Because right now you have a lot of erosion that they were unaware of. The first thing I looked at was the whole yard. I look at the whole picture before I knock on the door,
Yeah.
just so I could have a better understanding. So I was almost $3,000 higher than everybody else, and I still won the bid just because I offered something that nobody else did. Number
Yeah.
one, I was faster. I could be on site within an hour, and I offered to do the whole house, and so they got a kick out of it.
Nice.
That's
And
amazing.
it's something we see here. I'm in a number of services. I know Colin is as well. That really lends to ability to take the blinders off when you get to the house and see the big picture and see things the other guys aren't seeing. I'm not saying that that's necessarily the answer for you guys at home. Some would argue specialize and do one thing and do it really well. But I will tell you, Chuck's landscape background allowed him to spot the erosion and see
That's right.
upsells that allowed him to win the homeowner over. And the homeowner felt that Chuck is the guy because he's got various skill sets that lend to the big picture. Sometimes you got to bring in a number of different things, whether it's roofing, gutters, landscape, grading, drainage. If you could see more than the other guys, that's a huge asset to have. A
That's
big
right.
tool to flex on the homeowner when you're there.
It's a huge asset. One of my biggest things, and we're a little higher volume, Chuck. And I run right now. We have 4 sales reps, right? So not a ton, but still 4 reps running. And when we hire a new rep, or in gutter launch, when one of our members is hiring sales reps, we can always tell who's going to do well and who's not, because they show up and they look to solve a bigger problem that the customer presents them. And they're looking for all the other things. Oh, have you noticed? I'm sure your houses are all stucco where you live. Maybe not, but have you noticed all these stucco cracks here? Right. We need to keep water away from that. Oh, nobody else pointed that out
Yeah, see,
for us.
the
Right.
homeowners only know the acute issues. I have a
Right.
gutter that's leaking on my head when I'm walking in and out of the door.
Yep.
They don't know what caused what that caused what. There's sometimes a whole daisy chain of effect as to what the roof. It could be a roof issue, a gutter issue,
That's
a
right.
variety of things. And if you could spot it all and unravel that mystery on why the problem is happening, you can get maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different line items on that bid versus just the gutter at the front door, because that might not even do the job, right? You fix the gutter, replace the gutter, and the problem above that gutter is still happening. So
That's right. That's
we
it.
we digress. Chuck, you're more business. So landscaping. How does that tie in? Do you get calls on landscaping that easily segue into rain gutters? Is that commonplace for you?
100% of my, well, 99% of my landscape customers get gutters, and over 50% of my gutter company gets a landscape job out of it. And I don't do yard maintenance, I only do landscape construction. So each company is separate in its own entity, but they each scratch each back. And I work a gutter deal on every single landscape job. Rarely
So
do I have
smart.
somebody tell me no.
Yeah.
And of course, I do give them a better deal package. Let me do the turf, the waterfall, the retaining wall, and I'll tell you what. Normally, I charge this for gutters. If you do the whole package at the same time,
While I'm here,
the gutters
Right.
and do the whole thing, the gutters. And with our monsoon seasons, it'll flood a backyard where I can fix that, depending on how the roof is pitched. If
yeah.
it's pitched frontward to backwards, there's not a lot I can do. But if the roof line goes from the backyard and then to the front, I could put the gutters on the edge of the house and I can mitigate their flooding significantly. I can't fix anything like that because you still have what's called skyfall. But I can mitigate, especially some of the houses I do, or is 3 to 4,000 square feet. Well, I could take a lot of that water in the backyard of the front and fix a flooding problem. So, yes, to answer your question, the landscape does exceptionally well as a sales tool for my gutters, and my gutters gives me an opportunity to do a landscape bid. In
That's right.
fact, 5 of my jobs right now, my landscape jobs, are because of gutter calls.
Yeah.
So they work hand in hand, and it's phenomenal. It was my intention that just exploded.
Yeah.
90
I,
days, my ROI, and I
what
probably put in at least $85,000 into startup.
which lead costs more? Your landscaping leads or your gutter leads?
Gutters. I
Gutters.
I don't spend any money on landscape anymore because I've been around too long. Now that being said, I'm number one on Google for gutters and for landscape in my area. The reason that is of my knowledge with SEO, search engine optimization. I understand how Google works and certain keywords. And also, I understand that I've been doing it longer than anybody else in my area, and Google recognizes that.
Yep,
So when somebody types in gutters, Kingman, Arizona, I'm going to show up first.
that's right.
There's a couple other companies that have been around longer, but they don't have a website and they don't have a presence on Google.
Oh
So they're
gosh,
not,
can
they're,
you imagine it's 2025 and not having a presence on the interwebs? Like,
well, because, and don't get me wrong, I do it too. I get calls off Nextdoor, not Craigslist, but,
Angie.
oh man, Angie's List. Yeah. I get calls off that every once in a while, but not too often. And that's actually where they kind of focus. I don't know why. Google's free. I mean, a website, it's
Well,
$25 a
it's
month.
so let,
free.
let me shed a little light on my side of things because I agree with Chuck. And, I have a drainage business. I have a separate LLC for that. That business is booming. It's in 4 years by itself to the revenue of the gutter business. So, we're crushing it, but it's an interesting dynamic. We have, I don't know, 10 websites, 11 websites right now between the brands, and the gutter business by far costs more money to generate a lead because I can leverage SEO and web and based own organic search results on drainage because there's far less competition, and then everybody's cross trained. So when we go out for a drainage job, we're looking at the rain gutters.
Right.
When the rain gutter salespeople are out looking at rain gutter jobs, they're always asking about the drainage, and it's constant crossover. We're always selling back and forth, and it's a beautiful, beautiful match. It's where does the water convey to, right? A rain gutter system sends the water into drains if there's drains. So why would you not talk about it or touch it when it's just easy money, especially if those drains are clogged or they visibly you could tell they just haven't been serviced or maintained. That's the next big
Well,
job sitting there
and
waiting.
that's huge to have. I think it's almost foolish to have any company as a standalone. You should always have, as a business owner, you should always want multiple revenue avenues of revenue.
Right.
Multiple streams of income coming in from different places, left and the right. That way, if one drops off, the other picks up.
Right.
And having multiple streams of revenue, in my opinion, is success.
It's
It's
not easy
real.
though for the
It
starter. You're right, the
right.
startup guy. I mean, the costs, the insurances. Each of these businesses are insured
Yeah.
heavily, general liability, comp. New York State, there's different policies there. I mean, we have overhead, but it's all cost of doing business. You just have to bite the bullet. And Chuck, we this before we got on, where you just have to eat shit, right, for a couple of years and get this thing rolling. Colin knows everybody wants to be a million overnight, and it takes years of just sucking wind and taking that money and paying it forward, rolling it back into the business, rolling it back
Right.
in until you get to a level that's sustainable. Then you could ease off a little bit. But
That's right.
that's the one thing everybody wants instant gratification. And it's hard to just, especially when the money's coming in, you don't want to put it out or you don't want to put it back into the business. You just want to take it and go to the club,
That's
like
right.
you're trying to,
Yeah.
you're trying to use that money. So,
And to that point, everybody wants diversification and they want to do all these different things. That's true. Like doing that is good for your business at the right time, though. So
right,
many people start that. Like you didn't add gutters for 19 years, right?
Yeah.
You were landscaping only for 19 years. And then the gutters came, right?
Yeah.
Frank, you were gutters only for how many years? 15, something like that,
yeah.
right?
No, I was roofing in like 8 years, but like
8 years.
not,
Yeah.
not like formal branding, marketing, LLCs, like starting to roll out other
Right.
entities.
And I was the opposite of both of you. I was, all right, 2 years in, I'm adding garage doors. Next year, I'm adding siding. Next year, I'm adding windows. Next year, I'm adding roofing. And it was a complete cluster F, right? So
Hmm.
I've been there and done that. It wasn't until I refined, I got down to just roofing and gutters that I started hitting millions of dollars, right? And I was like,
Yep.
okay, all right, let's build this. And now we added windows here this year, and it's like, all right, that's it.
The other
Let's
thing
get
is
these
too,
right.
you're leveraging the same client pool, right? You
That's
don't
right.
have to go out and hunt for a new client that didn't exist yesterday in your directory, in your
Right.
Rolodex, in your CRM. You're leveraging the same customers and just giving them something else that they didn't have before that you do. So
That's it.
that's the cheapest, the least expensive way to continue to bring in business without having to go out and pay for ads
You're
and
already there. You're
that's it.
already
You
there.
already, and
Already on
you're
the
already trusted. You're a
That's it.
trusted vendor. You've already done well by them.
You know
Yep.
it. And then, like, yeah, to Frank's point, you do well. I just got an email. Like, George and I were chit chatting before you guys got on, and I just got an email, green light on a $27,000 7 window job. Small, like 7 crank out
Mhm.
windows, nothing crazy.
Wow.
27 grand. And they're like, okay, but we also want you to look at our gutters because they're not working right.
Yep.
And our roof we know is going to need to be done in the next couple of years. And they're just like throwing money at me.
Yeah, what I find with homeowners are they have terrible experiences with so many guys for so many years. When they finally find a good vendor, if
Yep.
Yeah.
you're the guy that could offer X, A through Z, you have a lot of
Yes.
tools in your arsenal. Want to hold you close, and they're going to call you again and again and again.
I hear
And
that
that's the
all the
way.
time.
That's what you want to shoot for. You want to be the guy that they're just embracing. They're so happy to finally get a good guy, and it's the whole picture. Right, work's got to be good, but the communication from the beginning, the email follow-ups, the digital nice looking quotation, every step has to be hitting on all cylinders, and then you win them over, and then they're yours forever. They're
So
yours to lose.